biggest estate planning mistake you can make here in the state of Washington is having a revocable living trust. And you are that couple that I just described with, for example, $1 million estate and the wife has Alzheimer's. Why is that? Now, if you're listening again from outside of the state of Washington, you're going to think that I don't know what I'm talking about. Because if you're in Florida, if you're in California, everybody, every pundit you've ever listened to is going to say you should have a revocable living trust. You know, that's what the words of wisdom are. What is a revocable living trust? And why is it beneficial? And why do all these other attorneys and financial planners all throughout the US say you should have a revocable living trust? A revocable living trust is intended to avoid probate. Probate is the legal process where your estate is administered. Probate can be a very expensive and complicated legal procedure in a lot of states, not Washington. I don't have a license in California. It is my understanding in California, though, that probate is really to be avoided because the costs of probate are a percentage of the value of your estate. That can be huge. And in California, where they have Medicaid, the state of California will allow you through a revocable living trust to do asset protection for your surviving spouse against long-term care costs. So maybe a revocable living trust probably is the best idea in California. I can't say, but what I can say is in Washington, it can be a terrible idea. Recall when I told you about how with having a will with an asset protection trust, the couple can protect half, if not more, of their assets when the first spouse dies. So that when the surviving spouse applies for Medicaid, the state doesn't count that $500,000 in my example that was put in the trust, that $500,000 that was the deceased spouse's share. If you, instead of having a will with an asset protection trust and you live in Washington, you have a revocable living trust and you try to create that asset protection for your spouse, you can't do it. The state of Washington is clear. It is black and white in our state that if you want to protect assets for your surviving spouse when you die, so that the state of Washington doesn't count those assets, you have to do it through a will. You cannot do it through a revocable living trust. So a revocable living trust, I am not saying that they never make sense in the state of Washington. I'll talk about that in a minute. What I'm saying to you is that the concept of a revocable living trust, the idea that a revocable living trust fixes everybody's problems, you avoid probate, you get all the benefits of any estate planning, that's nonsense in our state. It's nonsense. You want to protect assets for your spouse against long-term care costs, you must do it through a will. And anybody that waffles on that doesn't know what they're talking about.